Man City is the most successful team in the last season is indisputable. They won the divine treble with a quality squad. However, the reigning European champions are facing the farewell of some of their important players. Even in the summer of 5 this year, will Man City do anything to deal with this situation? And is this a good opportunity for them to change their squad? Let's find out in this video. First, the personnel situation in the wing corridor of the defending European champion may be the most disturbed place when both the names Joao Cancelo and Kyle Walker have reasons to leave right in the summer. Joao Cancelo's situation is quite clear. He was loaned out by Bayern Munich in January after being identified as a dressing room troublemaker, creating a conflict with head coach Pep Guardiola, and as a result, City was looking for a club to sign the defender, the Portuguese at a reasonable price to immediately sell him. Among the potential destinations of Joao Cancelo could be Bayern Munich, as the Grey Lobster already has other goals for the position, and does not want to activate the option to buy €70 million, or nearly £60 million. The latest transfer expert Fabrizio Romano just posted on Twitter the previous day with the following content. Man City wants to find a solution for Joao Cancelo before the pre-season, when the Portuguese fullback will be put on the market. Transfer school. Discussions will take place soon as Barcelona's interest remains strong. Arsenal has also made contact with the player side, so soon Joao Cancelo will have to make a choice. Because even if he was stubborn to stay, he would almost certainly be left out in a new tournament. As for Kyle Walker, according to his media, the 33-year-old winger wants to leave the Etihad field because he cannot guarantee playing time. According to The Atlantic, Kyle Walker was not satisfied with having to sit on the bench a lot last season. Things culminated when the English player was not allowed to start in the Champions League final, but was substituted in the 82nd minute. If the Walker stays with the team, there will be no problem. Pep Guardiola can still use his brother's defender for specific purposes in each game, like when he was sent to accompany Vinicius in the match against Real Madrid. However, they were all dissatisfied and felt unsatisfied. When Walker leaves, Pep Guardiola will probably not stop him because his position in the Man City squad is not irreplaceable. If Walker leaves the Etihad team, one of his potential destinations will be his hometown team Sheffield, which is the team he started his career with before moving to Tottenham in 2009. Sheffield United have just won promotion to the Premier League and are actively strengthening their forces to start their journey. And if there is an element of both experience and class like Kyle Walker, that is indeed a great thing. If both Joao Cancelo and Kyle Walker leave, Man City wants to add more personnel in the wing corridor. The targets of interest to the Etihad team are Theo Hernandez, Alphonso Davies, and Jeremy Frimpong. But they have not shown any determination or strong action toward one of the names above. Pep Guardiola prioritizes adding personnel in other positions first, because this season, he has found a strange formula, where there is little need to use true wingers. Man City came out in the Champions League final with 4 center-backs on the pitch and did it throughout March and April with the same almost similar setup. Ruben Dias regaining form, John Stones awarded a multiplayer role, both central defender and midfielder, and Akanji and Nathan Ake play firmly on the wing, but with Laporte likely to leave this summer. To return to the old team's Athletic Bilbao, the addition of a central defender is essential. And Josko Gvardiol is the main target of the Etihad team, a tall but agile central defender, left-footed and young. That's what Pep Guardiola needs to upgrade his defense. But the price of the Croatian midfielder is not pleasant when he still has a contract with RB Leipzig until 2027. Above, things seem to be a bit more complicated when stable names like the case of Riyad Mahrez, Gundogan, and Bernardo Silva are either wanting to leave or are still uncertain about the future. In midfield, Man City is trying to convince Ilkay Gundogan to sign a new contract to replace the contract that will expire in a few weeks. The German player wants to get a 2-year contract extension with a new salary increase significantly compared to the £165,000 a week he is currently receiving. However, the leadership of Man City can hardly meet that condition when they only want to extend for 1 year with a salary that fluctuates not too much. There are many clubs interested in the 32-year-old midfielder, including Arsenal, Barcelona, and a few teams in the Arab world. However, according to the Atlantic journalist, Gundogan does not want to leave Europe this summer. City wants to sign Mateo Kovacic from Chelsea, but the club says that has nothing to do with Gundogan's future. Along with that, a name that, although often playing on the wing for this season, can still play very well in the midfield. Bernardo Silva is also uncertain about the future this summer. Barcelona was interested in the Portuguese player, but it was Paris Saint-Germain who was pursuing the midfielder in 1994 most aggressively. Even to convince Man City to let go, the representative from Paris is said to be ready to bring both the pillars of midfielder Verratti and goalkeeper Donnarumma to the negotiating table for this deal. Phil Foden has mainly played on the wing for the past few years, but many fans understand that Pep wants to plan for his favorite student to play in the midfield in the future. However, due to the balance in the midfield of the citizens, he will be an alternative to Kevin De Bruyne, as happened due to the Belgian player's injury in the Champions League final instead of the position of 2, name above. So adding more personnel in the midfield is what the reigning European champions need to do. Besides Kovacic, another goal of the city is Declan Rice. Although Arsenal is the leading team in the acquisition of West Ham captain, however, the city also participated in that race. The Etihad team is willing to meet the price that the Hammers want and can also pay a high salary for Declan Rice. They see the English midfielder as a quality addition with versatility. Declan Rice can fill the gap of Gundogan or be an alternative if Rodri has problems. On attack, Riyad Mahrez is ready to move to Saudi Arabia. In the colors of the defending champion Al Ittihad, or maybe Al Ahly when he has received the invitation. The city looks like it will be willing to listen and accept an offer for the 32-year-old this summer, if received a large enough amount, and try to extend the contract with him. Pep Guardiola has said a few times in the last season that Riyad Mahrez is unhappy that he is not regularly featured in his starting 11, and that Riyad Mahrez has reached the bottom of his frustration by not playing in the squad in 2 cup finals this June. Instead, Cole Palmer, a young player of the city who has not had much time to play, is likely to be loaned out to gain more experience and maturity. So in the current attack on the blue half of Manchester City, there are no longer too many choices, especially if Silva also decides to leave. The additions on the wing were needed, but it was hard to wait for a player to resemble Leroy Sané's or Leao, explosive, agile, aggressive running style. Instead, Pep Guardiola prefers players who can play wide, players who want the ball at their feet and appreciate more possession, like Jack Grealish and Bernardo Silva did. However, if you look at it objectively, the names that plan to leave Man City this summer more or less have a plan in advance. Whether Man City achieves the divine treble or not, it does not affect them too much that they want to leave. And it can also be said that the success of Man City in the last season has promoted that. If they leave, now they have a beautiful ending at the Etihad Yard. Get almost all the titles in the club shirt, especially if looking for a new challenge right now. Their position will be very different. A star who has just won the treble will be noticed and stand out much more than an ordinary star. In addition, names that may leave or are no longer in the club's plans, such as Joao Cancelo, Laporte, or are already in their 30s and are no longer so young, this could be a good opportunity for Man City to reform the squad after being at the peak of glory. Young players like Phil Foden, James McAtee, Sergio Gomez, and even Cole Palmer, if they study abroad, will have more conditions to develop. In addition, the more ambitious, more combative rookies added to the squad will also make it easier for the city to continue and maintain success. However, to be able to rearrange a new order and use personnel appropriately, it still needs the talent of Pep Guardiola. Legendary coach Arrigo Sacchi said about Pep on Gazzetta dello Sport as follows: "Now Man City have won the treble. They can relax, but I believe my Pep friend won't. Pep Guardiola is living by football even on vacation, and this is his strength. Therefore, fans of the city can completely believe that with the enthusiasm and efforts of Pep, the names mentioned above will not affect too much if they leave the Etihad field right this summer. And sometimes it is also a positive move for the future development of the club."